Welcome everyone, and welcome to our actual first ever real raw sales role play. Super honored to one Unblinded morning huddle this morning and reback today. We're gonna be on our Unblinded huddle. If you want to join that, it's unblindedhuddle.com. And here we're gonna be having conversations between Sean and an expert, where the expert in this specific episode, we have Courtney Epps, who is a fractional CFO, also owns OTB Tax. She's an incredible human being, is in the world of feeding children and supporting lives, and also has been able to grow her business from $7,500 a month in revenue to $250,000 a month in revenue in a short period of time. And in this conversation, what we're going to be doing on this real raw sales role play is that we're going to be having Courtney sell her services and or products to Sean. And Sean, he's going to decide how he's going to be. He's going to be difficult. Is he going to be fun? Is he going to be witty? Is he going to be Sean? Because that's all of them. And then we're going to reverse it. And we're going to have Mr. Callagy sell the expert their own product or service. And what I want you to listen as, one, enjoy it. This is going to have forms of entertainment. More importantly, view it through the prism of integrity-based human influence. Where are they on the mastery of scale? And that's what we're going to be doing on this real raw sales role play series. Mr. Callagy, what's present for you, brother?
Hey, first, my gratitude for Courtney is what's present for me. My gratitude for people being on the line this morning, and also for those that were not on the huddle this morning or hear this in replay. I said this today, that Courtney is the first person I've ever encountered when she was conveying her heroic, unique identity. There was nothing that I could say to take it to a higher level. That's how incredibly outstanding it was for her 30-second delivery. So this is a master. And Courtney and everybody, remember, what we talk about is not, yes, somebody's good or not. Yes, somebody's great or not, because Courtney is great. It's always, where are you on the scale of mastery? And if you think about in income terms, because a lot of times people are like, yeah, it was a 9. So it was really, really great. Like a 9 on the scale of income is the 90th percentile, is about $100,000 a year income. A 9.9 is a $400,000 income. 9.99, 1.7 million, 9.999, 7.8 million, 9.999 is 56 million. Point. As once we're great at something already, exponential is from there. And so I met Courtney Epps about 2 years ago, is my recollection. And Courtney, I said this on another call I was on today after we chatted, but I want to deliver this from my heart to yours. Your genius, your heart, I'm sure was always there. The person I met 2 years ago when we first met was impressive. It was not, though, this person. The skill development you have created, the acceleration, the mastery in how you convey who you are and what you do and own it is extraordinary. So maybe when I met you, it was a 9.7. And now it's like a 9.999, which to me has a lot to do with how you went from 90K a year to 3 million a year. So Courtney, with that said, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I am doing amazingly. Not long ago, we sat in this very room, Courtney, right? We had 30 wonderful people. We even had some interesting conversations about who was sitting where cars were parked. Wink, wink, right? It was interesting, an interesting weekend. So, but thank you so much for being here. And anything on, you have such beautiful charitable causes that you're involved in. And just at the outset, and there may be some people that were not on the huddle this morning. Do you want to share what's been this driving force for you as you've created this massive acceleration?
Yes. So, I fell in love with helping people. I was an accountant. I've been an accountant for the last 19 years. And honestly, I would say 16 years of that, I hated it. I really did. And, I realized that about 2.5 years ago, I went to a Tony Robbins event, and I realized I was not providing the value that I could for people, and that I wasn't seeing my true value. And, I've lost everything I've owned twice, and, I've made it back, and one was in business and one was my personal life. And, the thing that I realized is that I have such a superpower with freeing up money for people, that I can teach them through my experiences, through the things that I've lost, through the stupid mistakes that I've made in business, that I could actually turn that around and create a business and help more people. And what that led into was just an amazing career that I love every single day. So, a long time ago, we got to a point where we didn't need any more money anymore. And it's funny how you how you get to a point where it's like, we have enough money every month, now we have to give back. And so you're literally working to help people. So we started feeding children in April 16th of 2018. That has led to now 1.7 million servings of food to children in need all over the world. We work specifically with medically fragile children here in the United States is what our purpose is. And then we added on freeing children through sex trafficking with Operation Underground Railroad. And so we're currently feeding about 8,000 children every day. And that is my driving force. That's why we keep taking on more clients. But at the end of the day, the whole purpose of what we do on a daily basis is just freeing up money so that people have the money that they need in order to get the personal development that they need, in order to get the sales training that they need, in order to keep the employees that they need, in order to move forward and give them the hope, and then teach them how to help more, have more, give more, save more.
Courtney, drop the mic. You are amazing. Love it. And I love mastery, and your mastery over conveying your messaging, have people hear you and receive you, is just world class. So thank you for that demonstration. In addition, we talked this morning about the fact that Courtney, through stages and microphones, and has spoken on incredible stages in the US and all over the world, is an author and has just done such an incredible job of taking herself on, taking the industry on, taking the world on. Super impressive. So now with that said, Courtney, the work we're going to do together here for a little bit, and thank you so much for doing this. And I think it's in service of everybody listening. It's in service of everybody who eventually sees this. And it's in service of you and me. And we're all learning and growing together. And just trust me, because this is the first one. Like, you are our inaugural guest. We're going to do this every day, starting now. And you're guest one. So we will always share that. So thank you so much for being guest number one.
You're welcome. I didn't even know that I was the first one. So,
and this is really an extension of things we do in the program, where we role play with our client base. So I've done so many role plays back and forth. But I'm like, what if we took amazing people that are already achieving crushingly successful results, and we begin to role play with them and then flip it around? So have a little bit more time than we do with each individual person on, in our paid programs. Like, what if we do that? So here we go. So under our scenario, I'm me and you're you. Okay. Like, I'm me and you're you. That's the game. And we're connected, and you're going to take me from hello to yes about something you want to take me from hello to yes about. Your services, something charitable, but probably best your accounting services, and or something else that you'd want of value for me. You're adding value to me, but you also want something, that we're going to create together. So whatever your sequencing would be from hello to yes, let's jump in. And then when we're done, Fernando, give us a warning at about 35 after the hour, depending upon what zone people are in. And then we're going to switch it a little bit, and we're going to see if there's some minor tweaks, because you're clearly a rock star. But just like this morning, we identified scaling and maybe fear would be the next breakthroughs for you. We always have a next breakthrough. I do, you do, we all do. We'll see where that space is. Does that sound fun?
Yes.
All right. So let's go. You're on. It's hello to yes in whatever way you would do it from the hello on.
Okay. So I think I'm going to treat this as if it's a tax strategy session. So, when I have a client that calls, we actually have appointments about every 30 minutes. I do every single day, about 14 to 18 a day. So, Sean, here's the thing. This is what I do, just to get it out and teach you how to understand. What we are going to do is we're going to go backwards. We're going to see whatever we can do to find you money, to free up money. We're going to then look at you currently and what's going on today. And we're going to focus on what structure could we have today in order to make sure that you're paying the least amount in taxes. And then the next step we're going to do is we're going to focus on what are we going to do in the future. So the first thing that I do when I have a conversation with clients, just like you, is that I look in the past and say, what could we have done in order to save this client money? So is that missing deductions, which is a lot of times the case. What I find with clients is that they have a bookkeeper. You have a bookkeeper that really doesn't know anything about taxes.
Hey, Courtney, if I can jump in, yes, you could take me through it. So you could,
yes.
you could. So if that's what you would pretend that we're just like alone on
Yes.
the phone. If this is what you normally say, fantastic. Yeah,
This is what I normally say. Yes.
awesome. Yeah, so we're in roll, and we'll stay in roll until we hear from Fernando. So we're in roll. Yeah,
Got it. So, what I typically find with my clients is that the bookkeeping, there's major bookkeeping issues, and it's only because bookkeepers don't understand taxes. So let me break it down for you. What ends up happening is on a balance sheet. On a balance sheet, it shows your shareholder distributions. And what's happening is that most of the time, there are things that are sitting in that shareholder distributions that are true business expenses. The bookkeeper just doesn't understand that. And what I've equated it to is that most bookkeepers, accountants, they're W-2 employees. And so as business owners, we have things that are truly what a W-2 employee would consider a living expense, and we're actually able to write them off. So me and you, you're sitting in your home, one of your second homes. I'm sitting in my office. Your second home is a tax deduction because you're using it for business purposes. So what I want you to understand, it's not necessarily that the bookkeeper is wrong or they're doing anything wrong. They just don't comprehend that there are so many expenses that we're entitled to take as a business owner that they can't as a W-2 employee. Mm-hmm. And so the next thing that I tend to find always is that there are certain credit cards that are not listed. They may be a personal credit card that you're spending money for your business on. And so we tend to find for every $250,000, we find at least $25,000 that are not in your books. So that's deductions, which equate to, $10,000 to $12,000 a year in overpayment in taxes. The next thing that I see, so I'm looking here and it looks like you are overpaying yourself in a paycheck. See, the thing is that we have certain structures in a business in order to help you save money in taxes. And one of those structures is to have something either called an S corporation, or you can have an LLC, and you can treat that LLC as an S corporation for tax purposes. And what I find is that all of accountants are making people overpay themselves in a paycheck. And all you're doing, Sean, is wasting money that is going to Social Security that you're never going to get. So let me break it down for you. When you pay yourself as an S corporation, as a paycheck, you should be paying yourself 20% of your net income instead of paying yourself 75% of your net income, which is what you're doing right now. And so what we can do is we can go backwards. We can actually amend payroll tax returns every quarter. We can get back the 15.3% that you overpaid in self-employment taxes for every dollar you paid yourself, and we can save you money on the back end. And we can actually do that. We can go back 3 years and do that and get you that money back. And then now let's talk about your structure moving forward, what we're going to do. So we're going to decrease the amount of money that you're paying yourself in a paycheck, which by far, we just had a client last week that overpaid $75,000 over 2 years time frame in self-employment taxes that they should not have paid because her accountant told her she should have to do that. The other thing that we're going to focus on is looking at the expenses that you are currently taking, but that could possibly be missing. So what we do as a bookkeeper, when we take on your bookkeeping, we are literally pulling everything that you have, every bank account, every credit card, and we're looking for that. And we're trying to track down things that you should be writing off that you're not currently writing off. And then we teach you how to move that into your business account. So we're writing that stuff off. And then the next step is to start doing more tax strategy from there. So it's literally hiring your kids. See, I'm gonna give you some examples. I pay my kids $12,000 a year. I don't have to pay taxes on that. And neither do you. As a business owner, there's no taxes. As a child who's under the age of 18, they don't have to pay taxes on it either on the first $12,000. So that's literally a way to bypass $72,000 a year for me, which equates to about $28,000.
You got a bunch of children then.
I do. I have 6 children. There's lots of them. And so what we're doing is literally taking you from, okay, here's what we're doing about this situation. We're going backwards and fixing it. We're moving forward. And then we implement other tax strategies that can save you money. Things like conservation easements, things like having a home office administrative office that you can write off even more taxes. And then teaching people how the sheer attempt of earning an income, whether you earn that or not, makes things tax deductible. So, my biggest goal for you, Sean, is for us to find you, $10, $20, $30,000 a year every year, and you be able to take that money and start giving the way that we give through social giving. So, which is another huge tax deduction for you. And, everybody loves to give, but they don't necessarily get benefit from it. 96% of Americans never even get a benefit from giving to charities. And, I'm trying to change that through something called social giving. And what social giving does is it allows you to give from a gross income level instead of a net income. And just by doing that, if that becomes your business model, you can actually write off 100% of your giving to a cost of goods sold item. So you can link it to every dollar that you make. You can link it to every product that you offer. You could link it to every service that you offer, as long as that becomes your business model and that's your way of giving. And so that allows us to fund nonprofits that may not ever be able to be fully funded, as it allows us to change the world, but we're getting massive tax deductions, savings, so that we can in turn do the other things that we need to do with our business. So, is what I can see here, Sean, you are overpaying massively in taxes. Here's what I charge. I charge $1,500 for a corporate tax return. We can go backwards and we can amend this corporate return. We can go backwards and we can amend the payroll tax returns. It looks like we're going to save you about $15,000 every single year. It's going to cost you about $2,500 for us to go backwards, along with the payroll tax returns, the corporate tax return, and your personal tax return as well. It's going to cost you $2,500 to save $12,000. So, or you don't have to do that. We could just move forward, and we can make sure that the company is structured properly and that we're getting you back every dollar that we could possibly get you back, either through the structure, either through the tax savings, because we want to make sure that we're tracking every deduction humanly possible. And if you do not use us for bookkeeping, which you perfectly can, because we're a full service accounting firm, but if you don't use us as bookkeeping, that's fine. We will work directly with your bookkeeper and make sure that she's tracking everything, or he is tracking everything possible, because that's what I tend to find. See, the bookkeeper is great at what they do. They're good at tracking money coming in and money going out. Then you have, later on down the road, you get a tax preparer. And what happens if you have those two separate or in separate offices? The tax preparer is not responsible for what is in the bookkeeping, and the bookkeeper is not responsible for your taxes. And so no one's taking responsibility, and that's where you're overpaying in taxes. See, at the end of the day, it's not about me preparing your tax return. It's me making sure your books are correct and that you've tracked everything. And then you typically in a business have a payroll company, and that payroll company, they're just doing whatever your accountant says. Well, I've literally in the past, I had just a client recently, a couple weeks ago, they had a loss of $100,000 in net income in their business, and their accountant told them they should pay themselves $100,000 a year. So all they did was overpay $15,000 a year in self-employment taxes on money they did not make. See, guys, Sean, the biggest thing here is I see every single day that people are overpaying $5,000 to $50,000 every 30 minutes that I'm having a conversation with someone, because the accountant doesn't take responsibility of the bookkeeping, the bookkeeper doesn't take responsibility of the tax preparer, and the tax preparer is not working alongside the payroll person to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to do and you're paying the least amount possible. And then on top of that, you have a consultant or a CFO who's coming in, and guess what they're doing? They're taking the information that's incorrect and they're giving you advice based upon that information. I had one client recently, a couple months ago, that came to me. She had overpaid $47,000 in taxes because her bookkeeper told her that she was tracking a credit card. Her tax preparer told her that she couldn't claim any of the expenses on the credit card because it was a personal credit card. And then she had a line of credit where she had upfitted this building, and none of that was ever tracked. So she literally overpaid $47,000 a year. But here's the problem with that. I was looking at numbers and trying to give her advice based upon information that was incorrect. So when it looked like she was actually making money, if I had just been her CFO and said, hey, here's what you need to do based upon this information, she was actually losing money. So at the end of the day, you can find a tax preparer anywhere. If that's all you're looking for, that's not me. What I do is I free up money. I look at things and I say, this is what we should have done. This is what we should do right now. This is what we're going to do in the future. And I work alongside you to make sure that you're paying the least amount possible so that we can change each other's life and we can move on and start giving more. So that's what I do. Are you ready to buy from me?
Yeah. So it sounds amazing. So first of all, you're amazing. I appreciate that, Courtney, and I appreciate this strategy session. It feels, it almost feels for me like, can this really be like that real? You know, like, because you're incredible, you're incredibly articulate, you're brilliant, and I'm like, wow, like, so, because I think what I'm hearing you say is use your services for my bookkeeping, for my tax preparation, and even for guidance, perhaps in like a partial CFO role. Is that what I'm hearing or no?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, it feels amazing, and it probably also feels a little bit scary.
Yes.
Because I think I felt really like I have a big heart and I love people, and I felt in the past I felt really good about people and excited, and then it's like it didn't work that way. So I think I'm excited. Everything you're saying makes sense, and I still think I feel a little bit afraid. So like, any thoughts on how we move from here?
So I can definitely connect you with, a handful of our clients that we've helped in the past. And that's the thing. We see that all the time, and I get it. I am telling you things that no other accountant has probably ever told you. And one of the things I want you to understand is that I didn't go to college to learn tax strategy. It's not something that's taught. And I also did not learn it in continuing education. And so accountants and typically CPAs abide by something called a circular 230 rule. And what that means is you cannot be overly aggressive with the tax return, or you can lose your rights to ever file a tax return again. And see, I didn't know that until about 12 years in. And then I realized that CPAs don't really work for you. They work for the government because they're scared to death to tell you things that can actually save you money, because they can only look at literally 54 line items on a tax return as far as the expenses go. And there are over 475 different deductions that you can take by having a business. So I get it. And actually, and I'll tell you, about 6 years ago, I read a book called Lower Your Taxes Big Time. And the guy's name was Sandy Botkin. And Sandy actually was an IRS attorney. He worked for the IRS and trained IRS attorneys. And then he's also a CPA. And I've had the luxury of having conversations with Sandy, and recently just got asked to replace him as a speaker because he's getting older. He's 75 and he's from New Jersey. So he doesn't speak like I do, with my country accent. And, and I'm prettier than he is because he's old. So anyway, the great part about that is I read his book, and that book changed my entire understanding of taxes. And what it did, instead of me listening to what people had told me in the past, other CPAs that I worked for, I actually went straight to the tax code, because that book broke it all down for me. And it actually gave me parts of the Internal Revenue Code that I could go back and actually read it myself. And I realized I had been lied to all these years. And I really didn't realize that I was giving clients bad advice, because I was telling them you can't have a loss more than 3 out of 5 years. I was telling them you can't go backwards and treat an LLC as an S corp election. You can only do it forwards. And then I realized that was just not true. So I get it. What I can tell you is that we can definitely connect you to some of the clients that we have that we've saved, $20, $30, $50, $100,000 a year in taxes, and connect you. But at the end of the day, I want you to understand Amazon made $11.2 billion last year and paid $0 in taxes.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, you have the same advantages as Amazon. Walmart pays on average of 0.12% in taxes, where the average human being in America pays 40% of every dollar they make in taxes. See, the thing is that I know this, we will spend more on taxes in our lifetime, the average American, than we will spend on food, clothing, housing, and transportation combined. So it is crucial to have that the tax strategy. And if you understand along the way, you know, we can provide you with the tax code if you want to go look the stuff up. But at the end of the day, there are two tax systems in our country. There's one created for the W-2 employee, and it was literally created to steal your wealth away. And if you're a W-2 employee on here, or, you know, Sean, if you're a W-2 employee, I'm not trying to knock that at all. Please understand. What I'm trying to say is that business owners is the second tax system, and it was created to provide wealth. It was created to build economy. It was created to give you massive tax deductions so that we would hire more employees, and then the employees ended up paying the taxes. So that's the way this system works. And the government just wants you to treat your business like a business. And anything that you're doing to attempt to make more money, it in turn is going to make more money for the government along the way. So, you know, everything I'm sharing with you is straight tax code. Everything is legal, moral, and ethical. I would never jeopardize myself, my family, and what I've created in order to go against that and save you money. But at the end of the day, you just don't know what I know. And so it's just my job to instill that in you and educate you. And then we make decisions along the way.
Amazing. Well, thank you. So if I wanted to talk to some people, should that be our next step, or, you know, what do you think?
Yeah, so I can shoot you an email, give you some contact names and emails that you can reach out to people in different industries. And then we can schedule another call. I'm going to send you a copy of our deduction spreadsheet just to give you ideas, and also as well as a proposal so that we can move forward. And if that's something you want to do, I'll tell you, we're first pay, first serve. So if you don't pay us, we're not going to do any work. That's the way it works here. And then moving forward, we're super simple. We don't do hourly. We literally say, this is how much we charge. And if you take it, you pay it, and then we work. And then we do another charge. You take it, we pay, you pay it, we work. So I don't ever want to get to a point where we're arguing over money or you don't understand anything. So I want to make sure that we're communicating very well. And that's one thing that, unlike every other accountant, I think that I have got that beat, that I love talking to people. So the communication skills are much better here.
Well, that is certainly clear. So yeah, if you could send me that info, that would be fantastic. And yeah, I really appreciate our conversation.
Wonderful. It was so nice talking to you, Sean. Have an amazing day.
Right, you too. You too. Thank you, Courtney. All right.
Perfect timing. It is 31 minutes into the top of the hour. So Sean.
All right. So Courtney, fantastic job. I mean, you are a rock star and very impressive. So how do you feel, Courtney?
I feel good. It's kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous doing this in front of a whole bunch of people.
Well, I think it would only help. I think it was an amazing promotional video as well for you, for what you did. So you did such a beautiful job. So in the same way that you help people with their taxes, you know, and unlocking, I shouldn't say that, unlocking money, yes, through how they can more effectively keep their records, prepare tax strategy, and also have financial advice from Fractional CFO work that you do. Yes. As you well know, we do the same thing in how people can unlock more acceleration in their marketing and sales meetings. And so for the purposes of this dynamic, we're not talking about the beautiful access to stages and microphones that you create. We'll have scenarios on these raw reel calls that Unblinded raw reel that will do that. For this though, I'm pretty excited because I'm like super positive that you have a very high yes ratio. Do you have any sense of what your yes ratio is in your tax strategy calls? Like what percentage of people say yes? I'm sure it's high.
So it's more along the lines of 95%. We literally just invoice them. I tell them, we're going to invoice you. If you pay it, pay it. If you don't, it's okay. And, you know, just let me know if you want to do business with us. But it's about 90% right now. Okay. I mean, yeah. So
95. So if we can, so I have a couple of thoughts and ideas because scaling is critical for you, which we won't talk about today. But even if we can make that go a few ticks higher, that's what I'd love to shoot for and give an example to you and some of the folks out there. Would that be fair?
That's great.
Okay. So I am completely aware for everybody that's out there. And if there's any questions that pop up or comments, Fernando, feel free to intervene, right?
Yes. We got a couple questions. We can save them towards the end, Mr. Callagy.
Awesome. So, and by the way, when Fernando calls me Mr. Callagy, it's purely for fun. So we have like, I'm like, Mr. Fernando, like Mr. Callagy, like, so we do, he calls me Sean, like, it's not like a thing. It's a fun thing, not an actual Mr. Callagy thing. So thank you, Fernando. So let's, I'll be Courtney and you're Sean. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Okay. Now, before we start, and because I'll go, hey, Courtney, hey, Sean, that's how we'll start. I want everybody to be aware, and Courtney, that I'm understanding multidimensional dynamics, meaning Courtney is crushing it and speed matters to her because she is so effective at the generation of sales meetings. These are sales meetings. These are meetings where somebody could say yes or no. She is so utterly effective that speed matters. And if you're giving yourself half an hour blocks, I still think that we can keep this couple of these tweaks within your time block, but I am wildly sensitive to the reality of time, right? So Fernando, if you could, at every 5-minute interval, just say, give me a ding, okay? Just say ding, right?
Ding.
Every 5 minutes, yeah.
Just like that.
Just ding, right? That's it. A little even higher pitch. Can I hear your ding? There you go. Perfect. Amazing. All right. So hey, Sean, how are you?
Amazing. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I'm so grateful that you held this tax strategy session with me because, I do a lot of speaking on stages and still only a fraction of the people that hear this incredible advice take action. And I just think that's the way life is. So I want to acknowledge you for taking the time to take me up on this strategy session. So Sean, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much for you taking the time.
Yeah. Hey, so can I ask you this? What prompted you to take advantage of this? What was it that you're like, I'm going to do it? A lot of people hear it. They don't do it. What prompted you to say yes to taking this session?
Well, you said some things that I just had never heard before. And one, I just frankly didn't even believe that was real. And I wanted to get your advice. And I'm really tired of overpaying in taxes.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to jump into. But it would be okay if I just spent 2-3 minutes getting to know you a little bit before we dive in. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So, hey, where are you from originally?
I'm from a small town called Aner, South Carolina. It's close to Myrtle Beach.
Amazing. Amazing. And what was that like, growing up there? So it was small town. Yeah.
It was really, it was great. It was really small. A lot of really close-minded people, the population is about 65,000 and average income is about $35,000 a year per household. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. So what I'm hearing you say, close-minded, low income, that meant something to you. What did it mean?
I felt like there was no opportunity to be better. And I moved to Greenville, South Carolina about 6 years ago.
And can I ask this? I really appreciate it. Well, let's just call you Courtney. I'll call you Courtney.
Yes.
But we're still in it. So what did better mean to you?
Just that my family and my children would have more opportunities. They'd have better colleges. They'd have better, it was a tourist attraction. So very much like any other beach, it was just a very seasonal, and there was no real room for growth, I felt like.
Yeah. So I'm hearing growth, opportunity, acceleration. These are things that mattered to you enormously.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it sounds like you've done that. So you moved, and what happened next after you moved to Greenville?
So we moved, and, I was in the middle of a non-compete with my old accounting firm and insurance agency. And so when I moved, I was able to actually, start marketing that again. And I ended up taking my accounting firm, starting back over from scratch. And, I loved it, but, the people here were actually willing to pay me more for the same services that I was offering in the past, which is super crazy. And it's funny how when you move in different areas, it's like, I could charge one price here in Greenville. In California, they think I'm so underpriced. And then here in Myrtle Beach, it's like, oh, well, she's not enough. She's charging way too much. She's trying to take advantage of us. So
Yeah,
different.
got it. So, and what year was that you were out of the non-compete and starting to rebuild?
2014.
Wow. Okay. So not long ago.
No, right.
Yeah, amazing. So what happened next? So in terms of the practice?
So we actually, I got involved in network marketing, and that's actually how I ended up growing my accounting practice. Someone asked me to do a tax return for them in a network marketing company, and they were a W-2 employee the year before, and I ended up saving them $4,000 more than they'd ever gotten back on their taxes by being a business owner, by having that, even if they were not successful, but they had spent money. And so it really was an eye-opener for me at that point in time that I could help people free up money by teaching them how to have some sort of home-based business. And that's really became a huge passion of mine over time. And that got me involved in personal growth and development. And I found out about Tony Robbins, and then things just skyrocketed from there.
Cool. And how much that person, out of curiosity, that's an amazing story. How much did that person make? The W-2 employee that you saved $4,000, what were they making?
It was like $55,000 a year.
So that $4,000 had to be extraordinary for them.
Yes.
Like at least maybe not life-changing, but certainly changed their entire year.
Yes. And what happened is she was not successful and was not growing that account, though she was not growing that business that she was in. And she ended up using the money to use the product for the first time. And it was a travel company. And she went on that trip, and she came back and she started telling everybody about it. And so she ended up becoming super successful in that network marketing company, when before she could not sell anything. And so that was really my mindset. If I could help people understand, okay, the guarantee is tax savings. If you just start and attempt to earn an income, you may suck at it. You may suck at sales. But the thing is if you just open your mouth and tell somebody about what you're doing, you're attempting to earn an income, which guarantees you tax deductions. And then you just might get lucky. And as you continue to do it, you get better and better. So I get away from the whole certainty of, is this person going to join me? Is this person going to buy what I have to offer, when the guarantee is just tax savings?
Amazing. So I'm hearing massive impact, like breakthrough, like epiphany, that I can work with people who are W-2 employees. And if they're in the space of network marketing, or if they're not,
yes,
that I can create an access where it's going to change their entire economic dynamic, like to the tune of $4,000 all of a sudden disposable income for a person with zero. That's like an infinitely higher amount of disposable money than they had before. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, correct.
Amazing. Okay. So for you, you're accelerating, you're building, like where are things now?
So now, we have gone from literally, and I'll tell you, 6 years ago, I was making $9,000 a year in accounting. And today,
9,000
a year. Yes. So I lost my accounting practice and my insurance agency about 10 years ago. The guy sold it to quit paying me. And after 4 months, I lost everything. And so he just stopped. And that really did a number on me personally. And it made me feel like a failure. And I was really scared to become a professional again. And so, up until 3 years ago, when I sat in a room with Tony Robbins, June will be 3 years ago, I didn't have business cards. I didn't have an email. I literally was trying to do network marketing full time because it was fun, but it also didn't require me to be a professional. And I was so scared of failing again and making the wrong decision that I would not become an accountant full time. And so I would do taxes and do accounting for people January through April. And when I finally went to the Tony Robbins event, I realized, I was like, if I continue to allow myself to not be a professional, then I'm failing my children. And because that's what I was put on this earth to do. And it's my superpower. So I started sharing that with people, and immensely, and growing and growing and growing. And now, we're doing $250,000 a month, which is insane. I couldn't even imagine that 6 years ago, or even a year ago.
Because you've unlocked your superpower, you're living on your mission and like crushing it. Like that is an amazing story. And you have a book that you talk about this in, yes?
Yes, yes. It's called More Relaxing, Less Taxing. Why you'd be brain dead not own a business.
And so what is it though, Courtney, that keeps you going? Like, well, actually, let's go with this. When this all ends and you get everything that you want out of this, you have so many breakthroughs, so many incredible things are happening. You're having charities, missions. Like, where does this end? Like, you have it all your way. What's the destiny and legacy for Courtney?
Well, in the beginning, it was just to make $10,000 a month. And once we got there, then I could go back to network marketing and, I could help people there, and that was fun. And then when I got to 10,000 a month, it was like, why not 20? Why not 50? Because it's not the money that fuels me in any way. It's, I love to win. I mean, that's fun. But I think it really hit me, and I saw you on the same day on February 29th at Tony Robbins' birthday party. I went to Rodeo Drive earlier that day with my daughter, and I bought a couple things. It was the first time I've ever bought anything name brand in my entire life. And I bought a couple things, and I went to that event that night, and I realized that things do not make a person. And, what I was put on this earth to do was to feed children, is to free children. And I was put on this earth to help other businesses realize how much that they can give and how much giving changes everything. Because what is most important to me is not about how much money that comes in the door. It's how much I can help people. And, I realized last year when I went to a Tony event, Date with Destiny, I realized I was broken. And so my whole entire life, I've been just trying to help people and fix them. And I fixed myself. And then I realized there's so much more that I can do on this earth. And so I'm creating a legacy for my children to be a part of, because I want them to have the same opportunities as I have right now. I want them to be able to walk into our company and to be able to take whatever they're really, really good at, whether it's sales, whether it's data entry, whether it's bookkeeping or whatever, and create a company for them to be proud of. And then I want to eradicate childhood malnutrition. So that's going to take being able to feed 6 million children a day, because that's how many that die every year. And then, there's so many relationships that I can connect people to and just help them on a massive scale. So I don't know that there is an end. I used to really think that there was, but I can't imagine my life any different than it is today, because it truly is joyous to come to work. It's not necessarily doing taxes that's exciting. It's being able to pick up the phone and calling somebody and saying, hey, I just found you 20 grand. Hey, now you have the money to do what you need to do and do with that. And then, or, hey, here's a check, we're going to change the world here. So yeah, I can't imagine it's going to get better and better and better, only because that's the sheer purpose, is just feeding more kids, freeing more children, and then freeing up money so that people can do what they need to do.
Yeah. And I'm here, massive mission. You were the most mission-driven people and energized people I've ever spoken with. So it's an honor to hear all this. And I'm hallucinating, actually, I'm quite certain that you would not, Courtney, is this fair, want to leave any resources on the table and throw money out the window or give it away in ways you shouldn't be. Is that a fair conclusion?
That's correct. I don't spend anything I don't spend money unless it can make me money or I can give it away to people.
Awesome. All right. And final on this front is, if you didn't get there, and you were wasting money every month, and it ended up costing you the ability to save 1,000 girls, or to not feed 1,000 more people, or not change other people's lives, and you left it on the table just because you were being sloppy and reckless or careless, how would that, as you're aware of it, lying on your deathbed, and you're blessed and privileged, it's your last day on earth, and you're like, oh my God, why didn't I take care of this? How would that fit for you?
I think one of my friends told me, and she lives in Laguna Beach, and she said, Courtney, some people aren't going to take you seriously because of the fact that you don't wear name brand stuff, and that, you really need to buy some, whatever name brand, Gucci, Versace, whatever. And that hit me, you know, none of that matters to me, and it might matter to you guys, but at the end of the day, the thing that changes everything is just giving. And, you know, if I'm giving, if I'm buying stuff, it doesn't fulfill me. What fulfills me is helping other people. And so I don't want to give it away to people that, you know, aren't helping themselves. But if you aren't willing to buy from me because I don't have the right name brand, then I want to ask people, you know, what are you doing to change the world today? Because I'm on a path, and that path is very clear for me. I know we're going to be a $10 million company in the next couple of years. I mean, we're going to hit $1 billion because our focus is very clear on what we're doing on this planet. So it would drive me crazy. I don't like to spend money. I don't like to go out to eat much. But I love to give to my family. I love spending money on vacations. Like, I love spending time with my family on vacations, and the rest of it is just giving.
You definitely don't want to give the money away to the government, though. Like, you don't want to just
give
money to the government.
I do not. No, it's not happening. No, we're going to make sure that I mean, if you can figure out a way, I want to be like Amazon. I mean, that is my goal every single year, is to not have to pay taxes legitimately, morally, and ethically. And that's what I want to help my clients do.
Okay. So, guys, can I ask you this question?
Yes.
Can I share? Thank you for this clarity. And it is clear you want to have every dollar and resource that you can have, first and foremost for your family, but just about equally in contribution. You want to have that you're on a mission and you want to be tight and know what you're doing. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay. So can I share a little about myself?
Yes, please.
Okay. So listen, I think you know what I do is I figure out how to make sure that nobody gives away a penny to the government. They don't have to.
Love it.
And the incredibly painful dynamic that exists is people do it all the time. Mm-hmm. And there's 3 buckets that people take their money, Courtney, and burn it. You don't want to burn money, do you?
No.
They burn it. Okay. The first is they have beautiful, wonderful people that work inside their offices that they call bookkeepers.
Yes.
Or their financial team. And those people inside of their financial teams are well-intentioned, beautiful souls. Usually, they're all beautiful souls, and sometimes they're really nice too, and sometimes they're not, but that's okay. And when they're doing their work, they are fundamentally not thinking of any of the things that we're talking about. They're thinking about the processing of in-out. That's it. So there's massive opportunity lost there in 2 different ways. First of all, how to think like you already do, but I don't know that your team does, Courtney, right. About where to spend money and not spend money, and how to confront and deal with that. Second, and far more problematically, there's an insanely wild, complex web of tax laws that most people aren't aware of. And what you find when we work together is, if we work together, is that there's an extraordinary amount of money people can save, for example, by different deductions they can have for their home, for food, for whether or not they have a business. If they're a W-2 employee, you clearly have a business already, but how you structure that in the corporate status matters enormously. And so I don't know all these things yet, but here's what I do know. I live in South Carolina, and and I don't wear designer clothes, and I don't wear designer items. What I do is I provide a preposterously cheap, inexpensive, and massively valuable service for people in making sure, first, that their bookkeeping is done correctly. Second, their tax preparation is done optimally. Because first, it's like where you categorize it. Then even if you categorize it optimally, there's all kinds of things that accountants don't know and understand. And Courtney, I presume you already have an accountant, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you 100% sure, like you totally love your accountant and they're not doing anything suboptimally? And pretend it's not you, Courtney. So you're now like you own a law firm, right? So you 100% sure they have everything locked down, like you know they do.
I hate my accountant. They won't even talk to me.
Okay. So here we are. So I'm hearing so that would be a yes, that you are not comfortable that your accountant has it all locked down. Yes?
Correct. Yes.
Thank you. And then third, and I know I want to take like walk before we run, but I like running. If you do, you sound like a fired up, like ready to go person. The third part of this is when it's all categorized the right way, you have these tax strategies appropriately in place, Then the final part of this is what you do with your decision-making about how you invest in your marketing, your sales, your staffing, your scaling, all of these decisions that what most people rely upon is like their partner, their friend, their parent, their spouse, somebody that works for them that they hired not to think about those things. And those people a lot of times have a bias, Courtney. And the bias they have is like they care. They may care about you. They may care about their own fears, and they may have a fear of growing. They may have a desire to like overly grow, but there's some like tendency bias that sits inside of them because they're in it. They know the people that might get hired, fired, scaled, new agreements, and their decision-making typically is suboptimal if you have them. And most people don't. So the final thing that we do is we have a fractional CFO service. We step into that space of how we help your acceleration and growth. And just to put my own credibility in it, this is how I took myself from a $7,500 a month, about 90 grand a year, to $250,000 a month, $3 million a year. And also I'm, with humility, a genius in marketing strategy because I fill my day with 14 to 18 sales meetings a day, and we rock it and make it happen. And there's things even in that space to give you some guidance and advice on, so you're not spending like $150,000 a year on a TV commercial that doesn't return you anything or something like that, as opposed to leveraging your own unique identity and brand equity to create acceleration. We have those kinds of conversations when I'm serving as your fractional CFO. So how are you feeling so far? Let me check in with you, Courtney. Like what's present for you?
That sounds good to me. I like it.
Okay. Hearing like a little bit hesitancy, like if you had a doubt or concern, what would your doubt be?
My biggest thing is that, there's not, I was told that you're supposed to separate, bookkeepers from tax preparers and to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And my reality on that, I'm just curious, where did you hear that from?
Well, my accountant.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do bookkeeping, so he only does tax preparation.
Yeah.
And he has a payroll company, he outsources things too.
Yeah. And I could hear from your answer that you don't feel that comfortable with that answer. Is that true?
Right. Yes.
Okay. So which makes logically more sense to you? To divide 3 different people who are disconnected and don't communicate, or to have one seamless process of all of this working together, which of course you could always get a second opinion on. Which one would make more sense to you?
I think the seamless process, everybody together would work.
Yeah. So does that make you feel a little more comfortable with what I'm suggesting?
Yes, because you can't ever get, all of them to talk to each other, and then you have to pay them all hourly typically. So it just doesn't make sense to me.
And I'm not even going to ask you what you're paying. I'm going to make you a bet that what I'm going to charge is less than what you're paying right now. Here's my number. Here's my number. Here's my numbers. And I guess my question for you is, are you ready to move forward? And where I'd love to start, right, is taking a look at where you are right now currently for tax preparation and to begin looking backwards. Because our reality is, in the vast, vast majority of cases that we look at, we can save people money right away. Yes. So before we move into like bookkeeping and fractional CFO, let me show you some magic and get you some money. Now, does that sound like reasonable to you?
It does. Yes.
Okay. So, and I want to say this, a lot of folks, because we're incredibly reasonable, and I'm saying this with humility, but I am super in demand. We don't do a free review and then like tell you what's up. And by the way, this is out of role. I'm not sure if you do or you don't. We're going to wrap this in 3 minutes, guys. If you do or you don't, what I'm saying is, what I'd love to, the way we work is, you pay me X, dollars, which is an incredibly low amount of money for your tax return, and let us take a look. And I'm telling you, we're going to save you money. And if we can't save you money, then you get to tell everybody and all your friends that I'm a liar and I'm terrible at what I do. But we do get paid up front because I never want to fight over money with you. And it's just how we work and what I recommend you do with your clients. So how do you feel about, how do you feel about me sending an invoice and us moving forward?
I like it.
All right. Awesome. All right. So let's jump out of roll. Courtney, how'd you feel about, now we're out of roll, we're quick conversation, final 3 minutes, we're done. How did you feel about what we just went through?
It's great. And what you're talking about, a lot of it is what I'm already doing, but one of the things that I'm not doing ever is asking because I feel like I'm in such a hurry. I'm not asking a ton of questions about what's going on. I'm just literally diving in saying, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to fix it. And then here's what it would cost. And so I think if I probably added in the beginning, just asking questions and asking them about their life, and took a couple minutes doing that in the front end, I could probably massively increase, probably get more like to 99%.
And I think you get to 99%. I think you'd also get more referrals and more happy clients at the, like more less issues with anybody down the line. In addition, real quickly, what we did was we also helped people tell their story, their legacy, and what was at stake, like their pain of what was at stake for you. Legacy, children, dynamic, all these different things. And what you'll find is they'll be coming a lot more even towards you. You're amazing, right? You're amazing. This will also make it, though, more scalable for your team, who is less skilled at delivering unique identity, less charismatic. So as you scale, a model like this model will have more acceleration for the other people on your team. So I'm going to call it a quick pause, check in with Fernando, Jared. I think we're out of time. Is that right?
We are. We have one more minute. So if there's some final things you'd like to share, please hit it, Mr. Callagy or Courtney.
Yeah. So Courtney, any final shares, and then I'll wrap and maybe just answer one question out of the queue. And we'll try to wrap 5 minutes before most times our first one. Thanks everybody for your patience. But I think this is a dynamic session. Courtney, any final from you?
I just want to say, and I'm so grateful for you having me on, but guys, it's so crucial right now, especially in the times that we're in, is to focus on sales and getting these skills in place, because honestly, everybody can get better no matter what. And, and sometimes we've got to spend money in order to get better, because, one of the reasons why I became a platinum partner, and that's how I met Sean. And Sean, it was actually less than a year ago that I met you, which is super cool. But I got around those people so that I could be better at the things that I wasn't at. And when you realize that there are people that you may be good, but there are people that are even better. And my personality is, I want to be drawn to that. I want to be the best at everything that I can possibly be. And Sean and Fernando, and Jared, they've excelled at that. So spend the time and the effort, because it condenses time to get around people who have mastered this skill. And just this one thing, just this one thing, I really hadn't thought about it. It would actually cause my clients to ask less questions and be as concerned, not as concerned as they typically are, because they don't know me. They're from all over the country. They see me on stage. They talk to me they talk to me one time on the phone. We bill them. They pay us $15,000 sometimes. And then, and we're sending them to onboarding. So if we had that conversation and understanding and relationship back and forth, I think that 5 minutes could probably save me a ton of heartache and concern later on down the road. And that would save my clients time. That would save my employees time. So I love it. I'm so thankful that we're doing this.
Yeah, and he's also even dropping it with your employees and them understanding as well. Courtney, you're truly remarkable. And let me say this: please don't ever move into wearing designer clothing. You are optimal, amazing, and masterful as you are. It is refreshing, powerful, like authentic, transparent, beautiful, and wonderful, and real. And you kick butt and represent everything that this capitalist structure in this amazing country should represent. You do represent as an example of possibility. And I mean that with all my heart.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you. Fernando, any questions in the queue as we bring it home?
We have one yes or no question for you, Courtney. Do you advise small businesses on legal issues, like client-related issues, refunds, and complaints?
We will advise some. I tried to stay away completely from legal issues if I can, but I always connect people to people that I trust, just like Sean as well. So, if it's something that I can't help you with, I can connect you to someone who can help you.
Yeah. So listen, thank you. And Courtney, as well as Cal, you are always helpful. Happy to help. Please get yourselves in the huddle. Courtney has added massive value to the Unblinded ecosystem today. One more time, how do people reach you, Courtney?
OTBtax.com.
OTBtax.com, yes?
Yes, sir.
OTBtax.com. Have an incredible day. Courtney, we're all blind. Just learning to see. See you in the huddle tomorrow. Oh, and the role play tonight. Thanks. Amazing.